What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Christian Labasco podcast. Today I've got Nathaniel on. Nathaniel has grown to 1,600 followers on Twitter, writes educational email courses for wellness coaches, and makes 5 figures a month online. I'm super honored to have him as a guest on the podcast. How are you today, Nathaniel?
I'm doing good. I'm also very honored to go. It's actually my first time hopping on a podcast.
That's awesome. Well, you're well
Yeah,
deserved since you're hosting your own now. Now you got to get on some other people's.
for sure, I should.
Can you please give a little background on how you got into the creator economy and your story before that?
Right, for sure. Okay, so I was a year ago. I full-fledged became an independent person. Like I left home, and so I was working from not like I was working night shifts. I was already in university, and I needed to sustain myself, so I decided to like work night shifts. So for a year, I was just working from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. It's actually 10 p.m. here in the Philippines right now. Um, that like for the whole year, I would just work from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., sleep for like until 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. And then I would like go to classes in college.
Wow,
So yeah,
that's insane.
my life my life would just be like very robotic. It's like suck it up mentality, like David Goggins, grind season, things like that. And so I would just do that. But it got to a point where, I mean, I was always looking for a way out. So even when I was a kid, I was always looking for a way out of the traditional go to university, get a
Yeah,
high paying job, retire, all that. I was always looking for a way out. And just luckily, I was able to stumble across Nicholas Cole's book, The Art and Business of Online Writing. It was December, getting ready for New Year's. And I was like, oh, new year, new me, self improvement, Ali Abdal, like recommended books to read for 2024. And I just saw, and I was always interested in writing. So I just bought the book, I read through it, and I was just hooked because he's like, oh, you can be a content creator just by writing. And you know how it is, like when you think creator, you already think like videos, YouTube,
hmm
right?
yeah,
PewDiePie, that those guys I already followed, PewDiePie, Markiplier before when I was a kid. And my idea before was to be an to make money online, you need to be on YouTube. I never thought of anything else. But then
yeah.
when I read that book, it's like, oh, you can actually make money writing. And he even said like he just wrote every day in Quora straight for 6 months and then went viral and then made money. So I was like, whoa, you could actually do that. So I was like, okay, for January, I'm gonna set a goal of writing every day. And I did that for 30 days. So go I would go to class, I would go home, rest a little bit, work, and before I go to bed, I would pump out a question, like I would answer a question in Quora,
Mhm.
and I would apply what I learned from Nicholas Cole from the book. So that book has like instructions on how to write, like structures,
Yeah.
the hooks and stuff like that. So I would do that every day for for I did that for like until February, mid-February. And then, sorry if this story a little bit long.
That's all right.
uh, I did that until mid February, and February 19, I signed up for the Ship 30 for 30
Yeah.
educational email course.
hmm
And one thing that I saw in there was like, if you don't just publish once, publish 1,000 times. So the lesson behind that was if you write something in Quora or in Medium or anywhere, you can publish that in LinkedIn, in Medium, in Quora, and Twitter, everywhere,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, oh, well, that's great. Like I can actually expand my horizons.
Yeah.
Cool. I would answer, it's same routine, answer from Quora, post everywhere. So I actually subscribed to X Premium just so that I could post a long form. That's
Mm.
literally it. So one day, I don't know, I think it was February, like no, March, someday in March, my account was in 100 followers with my friends, and just I don't know who those were in Twitter, talking about Twitter. So I had 100, and then just one day I went from 100 to like 600, like just by like a viral post. it went insane. And I was like, whoa, there's like potential in Twitter, because I haven't been getting any friction from any other platform, like Medium, Quora, nothing. I wasn't
Yeah.
getting traction there. But in Twitter, I saw a gradual increase and then just explosion. And I was like, there's potential in Twitter.
Yeah.
So I started like focusing on Twitter. And again, I went viral. And when I reached about like 800 or 700 followers, I was like, this is getting serious. I need to like monetize,
Yeah.
because I was already interacting with Money X people, the Danko, Dakota Robertson, Jack Moses. So I was already like commenting on their posts and I was learning about them. And I was like, okay, so let's make money then. Let's diversity, because I was already burned out. Like I was doing so many things. All this, I had a 9 to 5 basically, and then I had to write. So I was like, I need to give up something at least.
Mm-hmm.
In the university, thankfully I could like just take a leave of absence, but not really drop out. So I took a leave of absence and then just focused on writing and my work. So I did that, and I was just pumping out content. I had no plan. I had nothing. I had no idea what I was doing. I just bought Danco's 2-hour writer. That was the first thing that I bought. And then I just kept on doing Twitter over and over again. And then Jack Moses, he launched his free course.
Yeah.
And in his free course, he talked about how, his story where he was 22 years old. He also dropped out of college. It's like dropped out of college, and then he took the leap of creator economy, and he just made money out of it. And he's like, he posted something like he made 95,000 in 1 year, something like that. And I was like, whoa, like this guy, he knows what's happening, because he's just 22. He's like at the same age as me.
Mm-hmm.
So I took his course, and then when he DM'd me again, he said, oh, I have a cohort coming up. So I just took the cohort. I took the path that he said as well, and enrolled to premium ghostwriting as well, and then just made money. So yeah, that was kind of long.
No, that's all right. It's awesome that you can remember all the steps. Sometimes I'll because it depends on the person, but sometimes the story is like 3 things, and sometimes people actually remember all of it. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So would you say you started writing on X because you wanted to cross post what you're doing on Quora?
Yeah, it was just really, again, I didn't even think of monetization from the beginning. Right? Like I just read Nicholas Cole's book, and he talked about how I was even just thinking I wanted followers. That's it. Like I just wanted to gain views. And I wasn't even, my idea again was just, you monetize by getting views, right? Like, it's Twitter or it's YouTube or it's Facebook that will pay you. It's not people. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So really my idea was just to like gain followers and gain
Get
views.
AdSense.
I didn't really think of business. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Something I've sort of noticed is that the people that came from not from Danco seem to be succeeding more. I think just because the saturation with everyone who comes from Danco, like the whole space has come from Danco, and your kind of route into the creator economy wasn't as much influenced by Danco. Jack Moses was like that in the beginning as well. I'm pretty sure he just started writing a newsletter for no reason, and then he stumbled upon Twitter. So it's just interesting. I feel like people will look into Danco and not dive deep enough into his philosophy and just go surface levels. So then everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I think a lot of people in X I interact with, I mean, I was actually branded by that, because they have like black and white, profile picture. And normally those people are like just Danco wannabes in a way. I was branded. I kind of like was branded like that in the beginning, but then I think people realized that I wasn't just doing Danco, because really I didn't even know Danco until that point, like until the point of my when I started taking Twitter seriously. But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's nothing wrong with Danco,
Yeah.
like wanting to be like Danco, but it's just that when your ideas itself, I think what they could do is the strategies, but the ideas they should like have their own.
Yeah. Yeah. His
Mm.
whole philosophy is great, and it's amazing that he's got so many people into it. I just think people need to dive deeper. Like, I think part of why maybe you blew up was it sounds like you had depth with your long forms that you brought from Quora, which probably stood out as well.
Yeah, because really what I just, if you go to my Quora, um, it's just really my stories. Like I would answer some random question there. I remember my most viral post there was like something about dating, something about, okay, how do you find the perfect woman for you, something like that. And I was like, you don't find the perfect woman, you become the perfect man for the
Yeah.
woman for you, something like that. So yeah, it's just my story. Like I also kind of screwed around and tried to date people, and yeah. So there's
Yeah.
that.
Definitely something that stands out is the personality,
Mm-hmm.
especially on X. Did you
Mm,
try any other business models before you found Nicholas Cole's book?
right. You mean like outside of X, like online
Yeah.
business or even other business? Right. Actually, my plan was to do real estate. Like my plan was to get a high-paying job and exit my job through real estate. I was thinking of like investing. So I was already saving up money to buy like a condominium,
Hmm.
but I, you know, I never did it. So this is my first business ever. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's amazing what's possible in around 5 to 6 months with
Yeah.
online game.
I mean,
So
I think it all goes back to Alex Hormozy, where he talks about how if you focus on one thing, if you don't, because you can make money anywhere, right? You can
yeah,
make money drop shipping or like I don't know, making videos on YouTube and doing cat videos, whatever. But you have to like really know the name of the game and like focus on it. And if you have focus, you can make money.
yeah. I think something super powerful about Danco's philosophy with the Twitter/personal brand is that it's a long-term game. Like inherently,
Mm,
it
mm,
the personal brand adapts with you with
right.
drop shipping or trying to do a niche like YouTube automation channel. It's just kind of soul
Mm,
sucking because you just have to post
right.
stuff that you're not even still interested in or were never
I,
interested in.
I think that makes sense. I was talking to one of the creators in X. Her name's Bree. So she was before she was a YouTuber and she was making money making Chat GPT videos. And she just said like, at first it was enjoyable, like the fame, the glamour, and the money. But then eventually it burned her out because she couldn't think of anything else. Like she just had to make videos about Chat GPT and nothing else.
Yeah.
So I think investing, like those people who kind of like not hating on anyone, but when you put something on your name like Nathaniel copywriter or
Hmm.
Nathaniel ghostwriter, it
Yeah.
becomes, when you remove that, it what are you left with in a way?
Hmm.
Because you kind of like just become one dimensional. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are the people you look up to the most in the creator economy currently?
Currently, okay. Currently, it's been changing. I mean, I've always looked up to Nicholas Cole, of course, because of his book. But recently, I've been studying threads. So what I do actually is this is how I study. I read a book, so a writing book, any copywriting book, anything. Like right now, I'm reading Adweek copywriting. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But
And I've
yeah,
heard of
yeah.
that.
So that's what I'm reading right now. And then after I read, I would get a thread that I like and then write it down by hand and then analyze it. So recently I've been studying Dickie Bush because I looked at his profile and he's like every viral tweet that he has is a thread. So like, man, I'm gonna study this guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
He's a great writer.
Um yeah, Dickie Bush. I think he's underrated actually. Well, not really, but he's like when you think Dickie Bush, the thing is he's not really like branded as a writer in a way. Like when you think writer, you don't think Dickie Bush, but he is a great writer.
Hmm.
So Dickie Bush, Nicholas Cole. I mean, of course, like those are my mentors. Well, Jack Moses. Like
Yeah.
I've always kind of admired his work, uh, because he talks about he's just really authentic, and I like the fact that what he talks about, like just posting, like shooting from the hip, right? Just whatever you think, and not detach yourself from the outcome. If it gets 5 likes or 0 likes, it's still you're happy because you put yourself out there. Um,
Yeah, I definitely think the shooting from the hip and the authenticity is very powerful right now because it seems
yeah,
everyone's having trouble with the algorithm and growing like a huge audience. So I feel
yeah.
like it's better to build a huge audience in depth, like maybe a
Mm,
smaller audience, but people really are like super fans rather
engaged.
than
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
really big, since it seems harder to grow big right now anyway.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I saw
So,
Aaron Will
okay.
posting about how the algorithm was causing problems for
Mm.
him. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah, he said that. He's been stuck in 271,000,
Mhm.
I think. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, going back. Dickie Bush, Nicholas Cole, and Jack Moses. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, I actually didn't go down the Dan Cole rabbit hole. Like, I'm gonna be honest with everyone here. I watched his videos and I read his book, and at one point I was kind of like into him, but I didn't really go down deep and study all his videos.
Mhm.
So actually, I studied more is Alex Hormozy. Like I study him because I don't know, I just like his videos. I like the fact that he doesn't really his advice is very generic in a way, and it applies to anyone, any niche, I think. Um so there's those
Yeah,
four, and then
they're like
fifth one.
timeless. His principles,
Yeah,
everything. It
yeah,
works for
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. I think I think a lot even of creators get some things from him. Like I think Danko has a lot of ideas that he stole from him. And Danko, I mean, not to hit on Danko, but I think he does a lot of researching, getting ideas, and just renaming it to be his own. So
Hmm.
I think Danko does a lot of that. And just final person I've always liked is this is going to be kind of controversial, but Jordan Peterson. I read his book. I've watched all his lectures. Just he's just been a big inspiration for me, even like in my life, in my creator, in my writing, in my speaking,
Yeah,
everything. So yeah,
yeah. He's
those are
definitely
the
one
five.
for me as well. Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, it's cool. Just
Yeah,
getting a lot of hate because I mean he is kind of doing some things that are kind of crazy.
questionable.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think sets you apart from other creators on X?
Sets me apart. That's a hard question because honestly, I also don't know what sets me apart. But I think so. I have a mentor, and we talk about how I can it's kind of like Dan Coish, but I can pivot to any niche because I talk about everything. So I talk about spirituality, I talk about writing, I talk about business, I talk about like everything that people are interested in X, which is like health, wealth, and
Relationships.
relationships. I kind of talk about them, all of them. So I think now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's not too unique. So maybe just my uniqueness is just being me. Like
Yeah, leaning into you.
yeah, a lot of people talk about how my cover photo is very impactful because it's just really simple. It's like I write you in, and I don't try to complicate it.
You just cut out there.
Yeah, sorry. So it's just being me, really. I think
Yeah,
that's it. Like my interests.
yeah. It makes sense leaning into who you are because nobody else can really copy that.
For sure, for sure.
Moving on to sort of the way you've been monetizing, I'm pretty sure, or
Hmm.
something that's really helped with your growth, educational email courses.
Yeah,
Why do you think educational email courses are so powerful?
right. So at the beginning, I kind of had my doubts on it because when I enrolled in PGA, actually, I just really enrolled there. I didn't read their educational email course where they said that they teach you how to make educational email course. So I didn't expect that we would write educational email courses. So when I thought about that, it's like I wasn't really convinced that it could make, like, it was worth the price that I was selling it. But now that I think about it, now that I've been, offering it, I've closed deals with it, and I've kind of made my own system that is separate from PGA. I think what's powerful about EEC is that first, it improves your whole funnel, basically.
Yeah.
It improves the top funnel because the viral post, which is like right now, I did my viral post, which you asked them like the giveaway thing. So it already gets you followers, right? And you also get email subscribers through that. So that's top and middle funnel, you improve it. And then because you're nurturing them in the middle funnel, you also, it's a one step closer to a sale. So your bottom funnel. And it also becomes your idea bank, basically. It's like you can just get all the things from your EEC, which is like I make 5-day educational email courses. That's worth about like a month of content, because it's jam-packed. So I can just literally get things from my EEC, from my educational email course, and just post it and make a thread about it, or make a tweet about it, make a long form about it. So I think that's why it's so powerful, because it hits all, it hits all the spots. Yeah.
I definitely think it's so powerful for bringing your audience through the levels of awareness, because you can just, like you say, like, these are 5 productivity things that you're messing up with, and then you show them this, then you tell them what they're messing up with, and then the solution is for them to buy your product.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like it's almost just like the perfect lead magnet in a way. It's not a huge commitment like reading an ebook. It's just like 5 days, you get the course.
Yeah.
It's not like they keep getting it. So it's not like the ebook and they close it and they never go back to it. They keep getting it in their inbox.
Yeah.
And I feel like it follows this idea from Dan Cove, having a broad brand like you have, and then a niche product. And you're able to educate like your broader audience to being able to buy the niche product with the educational email course.
Wow, it's a very unique way. Yeah, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Thank you. Do you think every creator should have an educational email course?
That's tough. But I think, well, I mean, there's nothing wrong. Again, I don't think that there's anything wrong with other giveaways with ebooks or with, like databases, like maybe there's a system. Some people like give Notion pages, like systems. I don't think there's anything wrong with any giveaway, but I mean, it depends though. It depends. I think there are some creators whose funnel would be better with like an ebook. No, not an ebook, because I firmly believe give out free Notion pages.
You just when you said I firmly believe.
Right. Sorry about that. So
it's all right.
I firmly believe that all people who give away ebooks should have an educational email course. So instead of having an ebook, I believe they should like cut it up and make it an EEC, because again, what you mentioned, an ebook, it's too long and people won't really read all of that. But when you space it out, where you get one part of the ebook, one chapter, put it in one email, it also gives them like excitement to read the next chapter, just not because sometimes they take it for granted. I'm guilty of that, because when I receive an ebook, I just like look at it and I always think, oh, I can go back at it anytime, and I never do. But with an EEC, it's like if I receive the email, it's always going to be there. And if I'm interested in looking at it, I can just research my inbox. And then tomorrow I'm going to receive another one. I don't have the big commitment of reading that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And there's always like reminder. And it also, again, there's so many benefits on it, because it trains your audience to check their email, their inbox for you. So when they receive your newsletter, it's like they're not surprised that they're signed up for a newsletter, right? Because when you just give an ebook, they're not really expecting you to email them. They just expect an ebook. But when they know that you're going to receive emails, like because of the EEC, it becomes easier for them to like acceptable for them to receive your newsletters. So I think there are some creators who do have a better chance of closing clients through Notion systems, other forms of giveaways. But I do think that if you think of giving out a PDF, like an ebook, I think it's better to just give an easy. I'm not saying everyone needs to have an easy, but
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of episodes of a show. Instead of releasing the whole season like you would in an ebook,
Right.
you give each episode with like a cliffhanger for them to get the second part. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think people mess up with educational email courses
What they mess up? What they mess up?
when creating
I'm
it?
not gonna
Just
talk.
be specific.
Right. So I'm not gonna judge other people because I honestly haven't like looked at other EECs. But for me, what I used to mess up on is focusing on features rather than benefits. So this is what I've learned recently when I write especially like the copywriting of the landing page. So when you click an EEC, you go to a landing page and then you describe like what your EEC is all about, right? And only recently did I understand the concept of highlighting the benefits and not the features. So instead of trying to say, like just so normally it's like mistake number 1, mistake number 2, mistake number 3, the top 5 mistakes that personal branding coaches make. That was my EEC before, and it was just like features. It's like, this is the mistake, this is the mistake, this is the mistake. But I'm not really going into the root of like, okay, what do personal branding coaches want, right? Like what do they desire and what are their pain points? And I think the biggest mistake even writers could make is just focusing on your product and highlighting the benefits or what's great about your product rather than how it will help like the reader, So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely one of the copywriting tidbits that I remember from when I did copywriting is benefits. Focus on benefits, not features, or focus on make sure you say the features, but say what the benefit is. Like
Right,
you
for sure.
get 46 pages, and this means that you're going to get a complete understanding of the in and out of
Wow.
personal branding and whatever.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Why did you decide to market towards wellness and spiritual coaches for educational email courses?
Right. So before I was actually a personal branding coach. My first niche was personal branding coaches, but the clients that I've closed are wellness and spiritual coaches. So I'm ghostwriting educational email courses and tweets and threads for wellness and spiritual coaches. I honestly don't know why that happened. I'm not gonna lie. It's like it just happened. And I was like, okay, if this is the niche that is attracting that I'm attracting, well, I'll just put that in my bio. But again, Danco, I'm not really like, I don't work with anyone else. I'm like, this is my niche, this is my specialization because I've written like 3-5 educational email courses for different wellness coaches. So this is my specialty. But it doesn't mean that if a fitness person or a personal branding coach again goes to me and asks me for help, it doesn't mean that I will say no. It's just that this is my expertise. So
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Do you think that the people that you market to, wellness and spiritual, also coincide with your interests as well?
I think that growing up, I've always been interested in spirituality indirectly. It's not really like, I didn't think of it as spirituality. I've really gotten into the spirituality space because of Jack Moses, because of Twitter. But I think I get them because, I've been studying Jordan Peterson, and Jordan Peterson has somewhat of a mysticism in him. And like some of his lectures, Carl Jung, right? He introduces like alchemist, like alchemy. Yeah. So I do relate to them. I do understand them. And it's part of my interests, but I wouldn't say it's just the only thing that I'm interested
Yeah.
in. So yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you recommend signing clients to write educational email courses for people?
Sorry.
How do you recommend signing a client to ghostwrite an educational email course for them?
So like, are you asking like how do I sell
Yeah,
my ECs?
yeah,
Okay,
exactly. Because
gotcha,
I
gotcha.
wasn't sure if it was going to sound like how do you sell through your educational email course?
Right.
Yeah.
So how do I convince someone to buy an
Yeah,
educational email
exactly.
course an educational email course?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
No, like if you were reaching out to somebody, like you said, you weren't sure if it was valuable in the beginning. How do you convince people to pay that much money for an educational email course from you?
Oh, okay, gotcha. So yeah, I just posted something about this in my giveaway. It's like I closed a 12.5K deal in 30 days, 44 days. And the reason why I was able to do that was not because I ghostwrite for EEC. I ghostwrite EECs. It's not really that. It's just, so this is how I outreach to people. I would go to them. I would tell them, these are the things that you're dealing with right now. I look at their funnel. I look at their Twitter. I look at their website. I look at everything that in their bio, and I tell them, I talk about copywriting, what words they could put in there, how they could change it to be more impactful, how to improve the website, how to improve their Twitter, how to boost their Twitter followers, how to boost everything. Like I'm basically an online consultant.
Yeah.
So because I tell them these are the problems that you have, so many problems that you have, but an EEC can solve it all, they'd be like, oh, okay, I'm interested now. Because their mindset is already, oh my God, I didn't know that I have so many problems there. And then you offer it in a way, that's a matter of you trying to frame it and okay, how that's your mastery of the EEC itself, right? Like when you know the ins and outs of EEC, you can tell them, well, the EEC can solve it because of this, because it actually, you get people from your Twitter to your newsletter. You actually also improve your Twitter because you go viral. You have a viral launch. You also improve your newsletter. People will read it. And you don't need to have a website anymore because you can just lead people to the EECs. So it's something like just looking for an angle of the specific client, because you want to be specific. You don't want to just give a generic offer. Look for the problems of the specific client and tell them this is why the EEC is the product for you. So yeah, that's how I sell.
How do you find prospects that are ideal for the EEC? Because when I started doing it, I was trying to target productivity coaches, and every productivity coach I found had basically no engagement, and they were just posting their blogs with nothing else. So,
Right, gotcha. So dude, this is this is a hack that I know, and I kind of feel like exposed sharing it, but it is what it is. I'll share it. So I will actually offer them as well, like those people who don't have traffic in their Twitter, basically, right? I would offer them an EC and traffic. I would tell them, yeah, I would tell them, look, I'm going to ghostwrite an EC for you, and at the process, I'm also going to ghostwrite high converting tweets for you, so that we can get engagement in your
yeah,
in your
funnel.
in your Twitter,
Yeah.
right? So that's the thing. It's like, because it's just, imagine you say there's an EC and there's top of funnel improvement too. You can even charge again higher, because you'd be like, I'm gonna write, I don't know, say I'm gonna write for you every day for 1 month, 30 tweets. You'd be like, there's an EC and you have 30 tweets. This is worth so much, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, basically solve all their problems again, just looking for ways to offer stack,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you do for somebody that has no engagement at all and they don't have a network either? So they don't have anybody, like, even if you have good quality tweets, no one's engaging. Would you do commenting for them and networking?
Right. I don't know. I haven't had a client who is like that.
Yeah.
So I can't say that this would work, right? So because I don't have experience. But if that's the case, then I would also comment on them, because that's the biggest thing for people to grow, I think, is to look for people who are at the same following stage as you and comment at them and make connections, and try to like comment at each other's posts to boost your engagement. That's how I grew. So maybe again, I don't have
Yeah.
experience, but that's what I would do. Yeah.
That makes sense. And do you usually get your clients inbound or outbound? Do you do outreach, or is it usually they see your educational email course got results for you and then they reach out?
The first few was outreach. Recently I've been getting inbounds. I haven't closed any inbounds yet, but I have been like negotiating with inbounds.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's power of personal brand. And when you write, because the educational email course that you did grew you a lot. The Nicholas Cole and Dickey push
Yeah.
that down. That was incredible.
Thanks, man.
What would you recommend to people who want to learn to write an educational email course? Because I know there's PGA, and if people aren't able to afford that, what is the best option?
For sure. If they want to get into educational email courses, interesting. So this is kind of like, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this actually, but PGA won't teach you how to write an EEC. They will give you the tools to write EECs. Like they will give you the, the convert kit and the mechanism, kit mechanism, and the card mechanism. Okay, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this, guys, so don't, they will give you that, but they won't teach you that. Okay, they won't teach you copywriting. Basically, they won't teach you that these are the high converting words of an EEC. You should put this in an EEC. You should. It's not really like that. So I had to build the foundation up. I had the tools. I had like the ConvertKit system, which you could learn on your own if you're good at it, like mess around with ConvertKit and know how to do automations. And you could also mess around with card. So if you have time, you can mess around with card and ConvertKit. I'm giving you the tools now. Card and ConvertKit and basic Notion, that's where most people write. And just mess around with those things and learn how to use them, how to connect them, how to make an EEC basically. I haven't tried it, but there's probably videos on YouTube somewhere that would teach you that. But I think the most important thing, again, I think is still the writing part. So the most important thing in a giveaway, the most important thing in an EEC, in my opinion, is the post of the EEC, like the viral. If you can get people, if you can show people that I went viral with my post, that's already like good proof that your EEC works, because it's really about the copywriting, about the impact that you make. So the best advice really that I could do is just more like enjoy writing, just to practice more writing, learn how to copyright, learn how to impact people's feelings, to influence them, to make them act. And if you can do that, man, you're unstoppable. You don't even need an EEC.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. The second best way to learn how to write educational email courses is to get advice from people who went through PGA.
Yeah, that's that's another thing.
What is a reasonable pricing model / price for an educational email course, do you think?
Reasonable? Well, I mean, again, pricing is unreasonable. I think any pricing is unreasonable. You can't really reason out a price, but it depends on the skill of the person. Again, if you're a crap writer, you can't really charge anyone.
Yeah.
So like, imagine Dakota Robertson like going up to someone and telling them, "I'm gonna ghostwrite for you for $100." No one's gonna believe that. But if a beginner from X says that, to be like, you can't do that. I don't even care. You get what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
there's a difference. The skill, the authority, there's a difference in there. And I think that if you're good at identifying problems, if you're good at writing, you know how to grow.
Yeah.
You know how to write emails, you know how to write these, like all the things. You have the skill down, and you know how to identify the problems. You can charge like minimum 5,000. Like that's if you're really good at I think really just the consultant part, really good at defining problems and giving the people solutions. That's what I do. Like when I post something in Twitter, I give them solutions. I actually indirectly talk to my clients and my leads through my post. So
Yeah.
if you see my post about something about you need to create an enemy, or you need to time isn't money, things like that, I'm actually talking to my ICP, to my ideal customer profile, because it's like you just show competence. You show that, oh, he's identified my problem, he has the solutions, and it doesn't matter if you're gonna write tweets, EECs, or newsletters. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. This is an interesting question because how do you think you can sort of have too many educational email courses? Like, say you have multiple different products and you have an educational
Yeah.
email course to sort of lead them to each one of them. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a very interesting question. I think the thing is, educational email courses, it's I think it's supposed to sell like high ticket services,
Mm.
like at least $1,000, right? So if you have a lot of products, like say 5 products that is at least $1,000, I don't know. I just feel like, first of all, I don't know if anyone has like a product that is worth $1,000. 5 products that is worth $1,000. I feel like all people have, if I already have a $1,000 product, I'll go up to a coaching product, or really high.
Yeah.
But interesting. That's a very interesting question.
Mhm.
I just think it's like for high ticket. If you have a lot of high ticket products, then yeah, sure, you need the EEC, because you can't convince someone to buy $999 just because, right?
Yeah.
So the EEC is a powerful tool for that. But for products like $150, man, you just need a sales letter. Like you just need Danco, like the
Yeah, he's great at
2-hour
that.
writer where you just
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Moving over to Twitter growth and email subscribers, you've been exploding with growth recently, and I was wondering what you think is the biggest factor for this growth.
Biggest factor is studying hooks. So I mentioned earlier, I've been studying threads, been studying hooks. I've been studying like copywriting too. So right now I'm still experimenting. I don't think I've mastered it yet, but I'm gonna be honest with you, like this is the power of hooks. So my most viral tweet is the one, the power of now.
Yeah.
And if you read through the thread, there are some tweets there that don't even have, like, are missing words. Like there are missing words in the tweets. But because the hook is so powerful, it still went viral. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. Like because I got pissed on that. I didn't even know why it had missing words. I think it was because it went beyond
Character limit.
the character count, and I tried to change it, but then it didn't change. So I have no idea how that worked. But yeah, it just goes to show how powerful the hook is, because the hook is like, for 21 years I've been looking for God, and it's like everyone kind of has that idea of, I'm
Yeah.
looking for God, I'm looking for peace. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's something I learned from, I don't know if you know Benjamin Sean. He said, if you
Yeah.
can't find a good hook for a post, oh yeah, you did a podcast on him. Damn, I missed that. I don't even listen to it. That's so funny.
Yeah,
That if he doesn't have a hook for a post, that he doesn't post it if it's not a good hook.
for sure. The hook is everything. It's 80/20.
You have a very engaged audience that grew to 1,600 followers organically and quickly. Do you have any specific strategies you used to achieve this?
To like have a engaged audience.
Yeah, and grow this fast organically.
Um, hmm. Honestly, before I used to comment a lot. Like I really took Aaron Will's advice of commenting 200 200 comments every day, and I used to do that all the time. But there was a point, 800 followers, I remember. When I hit 800 and I decided to monetize, I didn't even like comment that much anymore. But I still kind of like had people commenting on me. So I didn't even like reply to the comment. I don't reply too much on my comments anymore, which I feel bad about because I used to do that. Like I used to reply to everyone. But I guess, I don't, that is interesting. I think it's just because I have friends. Like I did make those friends through the comments and through the connections through DMs. And I joke around with them. Like when I see them comment something silly, I would like reply with a silly comment too. And I flirt with people in the comments. I flirt with, if you look at Aaron Will's comments, like we're friends and we just comment on each other and I flirt with him and everyone else. So yeah, I think that's it. Like just making friends.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Think another thing definitely was probably the giveaway. 'Cause how much growth do you think
Oh,
that got you?
like the Dickie Bush the first giveaway, my first giveaway was nothing. I probably like got 20 followers or something. The Dickie Bush, it went insane. Like I got 800, I went from 800 to 1,100 at that point.
Yeah.
So it was like 300 followers. So yeah, that was big. But I mean, I know a lot of accounts who get like who explode basically, who get like who has 2,000 followers. I know someone who has 4,000 followers and doesn't get likes, gets 40 impressions, and it's because I looked at their Tweemex and they just go viral once with 4 million
Impressions or something.
yeah, 4 million impressions, and then it doesn't happen again. They don't go viral anymore. So yeah, I honestly don't know why I'm still like getting engagement in all my posts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe something to think about because maybe you can create a system so others can do the same because your audience is definitely very engaged for your size.
Awesome. I'll figure that out. Yeah, yeah.
What would your recommendation be to a person who's just starting out on Twitter and wants to grow?
Right. So if you want to grow, um, you want to grow Twitter. I've been like, I have a community and I've been like talking to people who are also beginners. And first, I mentioned earlier about how the power of commenting, of making friends with the same follower count and trying to boost each other's posts, basically, and just making friends. That's one. That's probably the most critical one, I would say. It's like, and the higher you go, the higher. So when you're at 300 or 100 or zero, like comment to post with 0 to 100 followers, then 100 to 200, 200 to 300, and then there comes a point where really the followers don't matter. Like I interact with big accounts, like big accounts just follow me out of nowhere. There comes a point when follower count doesn't matter anymore. But those early stages, really commenting and building connections is valuable. And I can't stress enough how you need to like really study writing. I've been saying this the whole podcast now, but you need to like really put in the effort, study copywriting, how to make people act, impactful writing that, hits people that they want to read.
Yep.
And it doesn't really matter at that point. You don't think of monetization. Some people think, because a lot of people say, oh, follower count doesn't matter when you're monetizing. It's like, it does, it's like, you can't say that. You can't go up to someone and be like, I can boost your account, I can give you
That's
this
right.
amount of followers, if you don't get the same results, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and then I remember this one one person from my community talks about how he wants to work for free for people and he wants to help people grow their brand. I'm thinking he hasn't grown his brand yet. And if you help someone for the sake of testimonial, like that wouldn't matter if you still don't have a testimonial from yourself.
Yeah.
The best proof that you will ever have is yourself.
Yeah.
What you've done for yourself. So I would say, don't rush in monetizing. Just like, well, that was the question, how to grow. But yeah, grow. Don't think about monetization first. And how to grow is comments. That's it.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I had a question that I forgot, so I'll just move on. But
No problem.
so if you started over on X, would the way you would grow faster be similar to what you did, but where do you think comments start to have diminishing returns? Like at maybe a follower count or maybe a stage in the journey?
I think when you already have, mm, I think you should still comment at least like 30 minutes a day or 20 minutes, something like that. So you should continue to comment, still engage. That's important for your account. But I stopped commenting when I did outreach. So when I started like looking for clients, because the time that I spend trying to comment on people's account is wasted because I can't out like it's like yeah, I get more views, I get more followers, but then I can't outreach anymore. So I think when you're already looking for a client, so maybe I would say grow your account to at least 1,000 followers, I would say, or even 500. I think 500 is also already good. And then if you already have an offer at that point and you're already doing outreach, I would say try to limit comments and more outreach. So more messages, more DMs rather than comments. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I remembered my other question. You keep recommending people to really learn writing. What would be some of those resources you would recommend to learn? Any certain books or people or
Right.
courses?
Yeah, for sure. Well, The Art and Business of Online Writing is the best book, I think, to learn how to start with digital writing. What else? Like, I mean, Adweek copywriting is helping me a lot right now. Scientific advertising is also impactful. It's really good. And there's a video that I watched that really kind of changed my mindset when it comes to writing. It's about copywriting. So that's when I really understood the framework of emotion, reason, and action.
Mm.
So you want to catch emotion and then justify it with
Yeah.
reason and then give them a call to action. So there's something about that. Um, I'll send you it later. I'll send you
Yeah,
that video. I
sounds
can't
good.
seem to find it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's that the I think copywriting is more important, like understanding that framework of emotion, reason, and action. That was like so big for me. That's when I started like blowing up.
That makes a lot of sense because humans are emotional creatures that justify their emotional
With reason.
decisions with reason and logic. And
Yeah,
really does show like the power of confirmation bias as well, where you'll just
yeah.
emotionally make a decision and then try to find every reason why what you
Every
did
reason.
makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on to podcasting, you've done a couple podcast episodes so far. How's that experience been for you?
Dude, it's been it's been fun. And I actually it became too fun. It's the same thing with the commenting that I mentioned earlier. It's like I just had so much fun that I booked so many calls and I have like recorded podcasts that I haven't published yet. And I'm just realizing like I need to publish all of them like day by day by day next week. So um at first I thought I would be awkward towards people. I thought that podcasting would be weird. But after middle way of my first podcast, I stopped like thinking of trying to structure the conversation and just
Yeah.
really talking to the person and like just going into the flow, taking like think like whatever pops in my head, I would just spit out and then I'd see what he thinks about it. And then yeah, it just became fun. So I'm not gonna lie. My first intention of starting a podcast was, Jack Moses, which is our mentor. Um, he talked about how it's like a great networking tool and like to get people to hop in there and you can kind of like build a connection and close them as clients. That was my first intention of like why I started podcast so that I could have leverage to invite people. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it didn't work. It just became like a place where I invite people I'm interested in and just like talk to them and have fun. And I mean, Benjamin Chan was there. It was just, we were just talking
About
yeah,
Minecraft.
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have an offer, so podcasting was more just like I love asking questions and it's like kind of perfect. I don't know, it's just like
Yeah.
a no-brainer. Like even if you only record one a week, You just get to
Yeah.
ask questions from people ahead of you in different areas. It's
Yeah.
just like, why not do that?
Yeah, it's fun. It's also, I don't know. It's more fun to hop on a podcast than a call. It's like when
Yeah.
you're in a call, I feel like it's kind of wasting time. But when you're in a podcast, you have like you talk to people and you also get content, so it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any dream guests you want to come on the podcast?
Dream guest, dude. I was supposed to get Jack Moses on, but then like it's funny that, and this is why off camera, right? We were talking. I was talking about how I need to like go to Riverside and not Zoom, because that's what happened, bro. Like we were in the Zoom and we were already in the flow and we were like having a good conversation, and then just midway it kept cutting and cutting and cutting, and then we just needed to reschedule, and we've never gotten to reschedule anymore. So yeah, Jack. Dude, if you're watching this, we need to. I saw you publish a podcast yesterday. Like, we need to hop in. So, Jack, Alex Ramosi, of course, dude. Alex Ramosi would be an honor, bro. That would be crazy. I'm actually setting up something with Aaron, he's a funny guy. So, Aaron will, and I mean, Dicky Bush and Nicholas Cole, Jordan Peterson too. The five creators that I mentioned earlier. David Goggins, dude, everyone. Well, yeah.
Yeah, David Goggins probably will be the hardest to get on. I've heard he really doesn't do podcasts. I think he's only done Joe
no.
Rogan and Chris Williamson.
Right, yeah, for sure. He is quite busy now, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Going to more spiritual and personal, you wrote a thread on Power of Now, and when you first read that book, how did it change your perspective?
Okay, now this is like a really deep question because I could go on and on about God.
You can.
Awesome.
It was really interesting to me. I loved all the spiritual side. So
Cool. Okay. So this is gonna be personal, and when I was like, I grew up without a father. My father left before I was born, and he my mother was ashamed of an accident child. Like it wasn't like she wanted to disown me. It's more like she was scared of people judging her because she had a baby out of wedlock. And so my identity has actually changed. I am registered as a son of my grandmother. So basically, what's happened is that my mother, my biological mother, is my legal sister. Right? Does that make sense?
I guess so. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sense. I didn't even know that was possible to change things.
I have no idea, bro. My mom's a lawyer, so she did it, and I'm like, so yeah. That's what happened, and all my life, it's lonely because my mother was away. She's a lawyer, so she's always working. She is always busy. My family, although they were happy, like they were there, or not, they weren't happy, but they were there and they were supporting me. It was still kind of lonely not having a father, not having a mother. So I had to like find a way.
That would be lonely. It doesn't sound unreasonable.
Yeah. So that I had to find a way to kind of be a parent to myself, but it was hard, because I was a kid. So I've been always interested in God, especially when it was introduced to me, the concept that there's an all-loving father, like a someone who will take care of you, someone who cares. Because I'm like, why would he do this? Like, why would he have my father leave, and why would he like screw my life up? Like, why would he have this? So there's always been that question in my mind, and I've been going deep into questioning God. I was a nihilist back then. So a nihilist basically questions everything in life, thinks that life is meaningless, nothing matters. I was like that. I was like, I would question priests, and they wouldn't have answers to my questions, and it would just reinforce my idea that God doesn't exist, that there's nothing out there, there's no meaning in life. And it led me eventually. Jordan Peterson mentioned this earlier. That's when I began understanding the other side of nihilism, which is like finding basically like taking responsibility, because I think at that point I was looking meaning outside of myself, right? Like I was looking, in a way, my judgment of what meaning was, of what the meaning of life was outside. I was thinking that way. But when Jordan Peterson talks about how, you gotta take responsibility, you gotta take your life and make meaning out of it in a way, that's when I realized, okay, so the meaning shouldn't be given to me by other people. It shouldn't be from my father or my mother or my family. I get to decide what my life would be. And it's a privilege, but it's also a burden, because then it puts all the weight on your shoulders, which was kind of like what happened already in me, because I didn't have a father, I didn't have a mother. And so I felt like the world was already up. My world was already up to me. There was no one who was caring for me. I needed to step up. And so having someone like Jordan Peterson talk about that, also like meeting David Goggins and all those, Joko Willing, another guy I'd love to have on my podcast. He meeting all of these who talk about taking your life and taking responsibility of it and making meaning out of it by yourself without trying to blame anyone else was really powerful. And that's that's kind of like my spiritual journey of like the self and trying to find myself, and connecting it with Power of Now. I think that's the most impactful thing that I read from it. That's why I connected it with God, is when Eckhart Tolle said that it's like God is consciousness and it emanates through like the universe, and the universe created the world, and then the world created animals, and then the animals, like, it eventually created us. So it's like, in a way, we are transmitters of God.
Yeah.
Right.
He's living
So
in
it's
us.
yeah. So it's like God is emitting his energy through us, and we're actually God. And not we're actually God, but we are
have him
part
in
of God.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. So when that really hit me, because again, I've been looking for God, right? I've been saying, oh, God doesn't exist. And then there's this guy who talks about, hey, actually God lives in you. And the fact that my spiritual awakening came from me taking responsibility of my life, it's like I took responsibility of the fact that God did exist.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, that's how I reason it out. I don't know if it makes sense to anyone, but that's kind of like how I reason out, and that's why like Power of Now impacted me a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah. It sounds like Jordan Peterson just let you know that you have the power, but if
Yeah.
you take responsibility, he's amazing. I mean, I guess it's very controversial, but I feel like I look up to him in a lot of ways. Not only just like he has strong morals, but his articulation is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, man. And he's also he's very smart, very smart, very smart dude. Like his way of connecting ideas, dude. His way of connecting the Bible, psychology, and science, it's fucking insane, bro.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance, but I know my dad has listened to, I think, Exodus, which
Yeah.
and he says it's just incredible having these people break this stuff down, because my dad was
Yeah.
religious for a long
Yeah.
time, and then he wasn't, but Jordan Peters kind of brought that kind of aspect more into his life. Yeah, he's amazing.
For sure, it is crazy. Yeah.
I think something else I like about him, I feel like he has some kind of humility in himself. Like, I see videos of him getting exposed about something, he just kind of admits he's wrong, and that's like,
Yeah.
it's like I feel like that's just admirable, because some people will try to cover up and stick with what they say even when they know it's not true. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are like that, and I mean, it adds to controversy when you do that. But being able to admit you're wrong is, I think, a very strong. It gives you like it requires a
Strength.
whole other level of strength. So yeah.
I've seen some of your videos on Twitter with you playing the guitar and singing. What do you love about singing and playing an instrument?
Dude, that's so funny. Like, some people have actually DM'd me about that. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, I only started playing the guitar and singing because I wanted girls. no cap. I learned how to, not now, not in Twitter, but when I was a child, I only started doing, like, I think 14 or 15, 16, something like that, like, the teenage years. And I just saw, I think it was Camp Rock, like, that movie, Camp Rock?
No, but I've heard of it.
Right. Okay. So there's this movie Camp Rock, and it's basically like guys playing guitars and singing and stuff like that. And there's this guy who was playing a guitar and like doing a solo guitar, and he's like everyone was squealing, and I was like, whoa, I want to be like that. So it's just really come from that, and then I just bought a guitar and tried to learn it. Never learned how to do electric and like do the solos, but was good enough to like date some people with my voice. So yeah. That's it.
Do you feel that the purpose has evolved for why you play the guitar now?
So now it's just really been expression. I mean, music, I think music just entertains people. It's kind of like a painting, you don't really know why it's beautiful. You can't really explain. You can explain it scientifically, like the vibrations match, like it hits the dopamine centers and things like that. But in the end, you can't really explain emotion, you can't really explain the emotion that you would feel when hearing a song, seeing a beautiful picture, or like feeling something that is really good. So really right now, I just post like recordings of me singing if I want to. Just when I have a song stuck in my head, and it's been like I've been singing it in my head over and over again. I record a video and then I just post it. That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No objective.
Yeah, I think that's also, like, even though you're not doing it to sort of stand out, it does make you stand out, especially on Twitter. Like that kind of personality, sharing that is not like it's all text, and then there's somebody singing with the guitar. Like nobody would. That's definitely is like a pattern interrupter on the timeline. People are like, wow.
For sure. What's funny is that I actually closed the client because of me singing. Like the client on the call, he was like, I got interested in you because you sing, and I'm like, whoa, okay, I'll keep singing then. So yeah.
It's so funny. It kind of shows how powerful like the niche of one is. Just like that
Yeah.
broad brand. People are just interested in interesting people.
Yeah, for sure.
What are your future plans and next steps you're taking with your personal brand and business in the next couple months or year?
Okay. So right now, I didn't expect it to be so fast, but I kind of hit my goal of 10K per month. But I'm still trying to see where the ghost, because my plan was really devote myself to ghostwriting for 6 months and grow until 10K per month. That was my plan. And then after that, I would like start growing a community. I wouldn't go the agency route, actually. Like I'm not going to do the ghostwriting agency. What I'm going to do is I'm going to coach. I'm going to pivot to coaching, and particularly coaching like beginners who want to write, but also my advocacy really was to help young people make sense of, like, confused young people make sense of their lives in a way, because
Yeah,
I was in that
noble.
position. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in that position, as mentioned earlier. It's like I felt like the world was against me. It's like my family was crap and my experience was crap. I could go on and on about like my deprivations when I was a kid, but I know how it feels. I'm from the Philippines. We're a third world country. I speak good English because I practiced it, but we're not a rich country. Like, we're really poor, and I want to help like people who are in that same place, who are struggling. And I'm gonna coach, and then I'm gonna do cohorts, and then I'm gonna eventually do courses. So that's the plan with business. But in terms of distribution, I'm slowly transitioning to YouTube through my podcast. I might start like posting actual, self videos of my newsletters. I was already in that process. like my first news or somewhere like one of my newsletters, I was going to record it and then post it. And then when I was after I recorded it, it didn't record. Like I don't know what happened. It just didn't record. And then I tried to record it again and didn't record again. And I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do it anymore. So I just stuck with the podcast, and maybe I'll try to figure out how I'm gonna record some videos. But yeah, transfer to YouTube. Yeah, Twitter and YouTube. I'm not gonna try Instagram because there's too many people in my Instagram. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it's kind of like your next couple of years goal, it sounds like. What do you think is your end kind of goal as your journey as a creator? Maybe 20 years from now or longer if you want.
I see. Okay. The end goal is
Jordan Peterson on the podcast.
Jordan Peterson on the podcast. Yeah, that would be cool. Like having a conversation with him. I'd have a lot of questions in him. But I mean, even Alex Hormo, dude, those people, if I start talking to those people and being in that space, that would be ideal. But in terms of just personal, just like for me, my personal goals, I would just honestly just want to be able to help people. Again, the creator economy, try to help them like make money through my courses, through my books, inspire young people to find meaning in life, to like pursue something, to understand that, you don't need to be popular. You actually don't need to be the president of the United States to become, to have good self-worth. Yeah. So you can just make an impact by being yourself. And I want to help people do that. I just, I haven't said this in a while, but I want to teach Filipino kids English, because a lot of people here are not good in English, but it's weird because our laws are in English, right? And so these like people in the slums, they don't understand the laws because they don't understand English. So I kind of like want that as my advocacy too, to like invest somehow in a charity that helps people, help people learn English and eventually get them to the creator economy and then sell them and then sell them my courses.
It's the ultimate funnel.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna give you for free, but then when you get into the creator economy, you're gonna
it's like what
pay me back.
It's kind of what Alex Hormozi does, is he teaches you how to build a super big business and then he'll invest in you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna do. So yeah, that's the plan. Just really like live life, travel. I want to travel too. And right now, oh right, I didn't mention my plan. I plan to go to Spain, because apparently when you go to Spain, because the Philippines is a colony of Spain. So apparently when you stay in Spain for 2 years, if you were a colony, you could get a Spanish citizenship. Yeah. So yeah, for the next 2 years, actually, that's my plan. Go to Spain, get that, travel the world while growing my business, and then go back in the Philippines and do all the Alex Hormozi giving free stuff and selling them. Yeah.
That's awesome, because I would assume that the Spanish passport is also gives you much more access to the world than Philippines.
For sure. Yeah.
That's amazing. Like definitely the contrasts of like the problems people have in first world countries versus third world. Like that's a part of the reason I want to travel, is just to gain that perspective, is like just that gratitude you have for the things that you take for granted every day. Like, especially the area I live in, it's definitely wealthier, even in the United States. And you just get this feeling like you just disconnect from the world. And it's a lot also why I like doing these podcasts. I get to talk to people all over the world, not so confined to this one location.
For sure.
Do you have dream destination to travel to, like different places you want to travel?
I've always wanted. I'm a classical guy. I've always wanted to go to Greece, bro. Like, look at the
That's so cool. Yeah.
the pantheons. The other, what do you call it? The Stoa, where they used to like recite. Basically, like Athens, Greece.
That's amazing.
Look at look at where it all started, brother.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to look at it all started, and then maybe now that you're making me think about it, it's probably like Greece and then Italy, because like
Mhm.
civilization transfer there, and then France, and then I mean England is its own place, so probably like after France, yeah, England and then US. So yeah, basic, but Greece has always been at my
Yeah.
list. Like I want to see Greece.
Yeah, that's one of the places I definitely want to travel to. It's just so much history. You just kind of feel the
Yeah,
magnitude of what happened there.
for sure.
This one sort of relates to your brand. Do you want to be a micro authority, or do you want to grow a big personal brand, maybe Danco size, which is big, like 100,000 followers?
Hmm, that's a good question. I mean, I think the thing is, I think you s- when you're a micro authority, you do have like stronger selling power, right? That's why Alex Hormozy tells you to focus on one person and
Hmm.
one model, one product, one person, one channel, because you can charge a lot if you can be very specific. But this was from his one of his like recent videos where he talks about in the beginning you want to sell expensive products to the rich
Hmm.
because that's how you can scale your business immediately, right? Sell to the rich.
Yeah.
And then by as you evolve, you can then sell cheap things to poor people in like wide varieties, because it's like you already have leverage in a way, and people will buy your products for cheaper prices,
Yeah.
right? That's why, like, imagine Netflix. He gives an example. Imagine Netflix, like, it cost them millions of dollars to make a fucking movie, and it just what? How much is a
I
like
don't even know,
subscription?
like $30
$14?
a month or something.
Yeah,
Probably cheaper than
it's like
$30. Yeah.
yeah, yes.
Just the
So it's
scale.
something like that. Yeah. So maybe, I mean, right now I am kind of like micro authority, but I would want to go to a point where I can sell a book,
Mhm.
just like a low ticket, and then maybe give them course, things
Yeah,
like
like
that.
a thought leader.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you're a micro authority, you can be a thought leader, but not on a scale where you can
Mm,
like if like Jordan Peterson never did it, like he stayed like he's like a brilliant authority in like his school. No one would
yeah,
have known that he was a thought leader. So that's something
yeah.
great.
That makes sense.
As we come to the end of the podcast, if you could have the audience take one thing after listening, what would it be?
Okay, so I assume this is gonna be posted in Twitter. So I already said earlier, learn how to write.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
I think this podcast is directed to kind of like beginners next, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is don't rush it. This has been my favorite quote. And this is my first tweet when I posted a thread about the top lessons that I learned. It's like be patient with success, but be hasty with execution.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
yeah, so you should realize that life, it takes a long while for you to like get a glimpse of gold, right? It takes a long while for you to actually succeed. And even when you think you've succeeded, you probably haven't. There's probably another step, right?
Yeah.
But that shouldn't take away the fact that you need to act now, because I remember this tweet. I think it was from Aaron. He's like, "You're too old. You're too old to take things easy, and you're too young to take things um no, no. Something like you're too old to not act, and you're too young to I screwed up the quote, but basically it's like you're already you can't just say that there's enough time in the world, or that
Yeah.
there's no more time. You're in the middle, like it's both true that there's not enough time, but there's also enough time
Yep.
in a way. So in a daily scale, you need to act quickly. Like every day you need to like
Execute. Yeah.
task that. But you shouldn't expect that you get six pack abs just because you did
One
600
workout.
crunches today. Doesn't mean you get
Yeah.
like a six pack abs tomorrow, right? So
Yeah.
it's something like that. I screwed up the quote. Sorry, Aaron. But yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me of this quote from this book I was reading is that persistent and consistency it's basically this: persistence and consistency will always beat intensity. So if you're consistent in
Mm,
something for long enough, you're going to beat that person who's super intense and probably likely burns out from that intensity over a short
right.
period of
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
yeah, for sure.
also, I guess there's a caveat, like if you're intense for a short period of time and then you can kind of maintain based on the intensity you did. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's like a snowball, you know, like when you get a snowball so strong or like so big, it will just roll on its own and you can kind of like rest a little bit and then push it
Yep.
again. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for coming on the podcast, Nathaniel. That was awesome.
Yeah, man, it was fun. Thanks for having me.